Let's see. All right. Good morning, everyone. Appreciate that. Thank you, Lincoln. You guys are on board. Again, my name is Eric Hatch. Thank you guys for being here. I've been doing real estate for about 26, 27 years, longer than, actually shorter than Christine Turner has known me. So Christine always knew I was going to be a real estate agent in 5th grade, right? No, I'm kidding. We probably talked real estate back then. Didn't we talk real estate back then?
Oh, you talked a lot of goofy things. I won't mention them.
All right. Thank you. All right, guys, here we go. So I've got about 3 or 4 presentations that I've gone to in the last couple days, maybe in the last week. We had that Greg Harrelson. I don't know, anybody else was on that Greg Harrelson training that we paid for that for his listing machine. And again, if you have, you're welcome to share anything that popped up to you. If not, don't worry, because I'll be sharing kind of this training here with you guys in regards to some of the things that I pulled out of it that I thought were amazing, mixed in with my few items that I like. I basically sell about 50-50 houses of sellers listings and going into buyers. I really feel it's kind of important to have your pulse on both sides, so you kind of understand what buyers are kind of looking for. But at the same time, guys, the last 8 or 9 weeks, we've been really hammering getting more listings because our inventory is low and we just need to get that up and running and getting more homes. And I think that people have always said, hey, you need to list to last. If you guys haven't heard that before, is that to really last in this business, to be able to have other people working for you, it's about getting the listings and allowing to allow other people to come show your listing. So I want you guys to understand of what your value is to a seller. Has anybody ever gone into a home as a listing presentation? We've all have been there. I don't know what our timing is here. If you guys are 1 year, 2 years, 5 years, 26 years, but I'll tell you, there's always a first, right? There's always a first where you walk into a listing presentation and you're wondering why I'm here. How are they going to pick me over someone else? What am I going to bring to the table as value? And so I really need you guys, and Greg really pounded this, of understanding the value you guys have and bringing that value. If they can feel that you're not bringing the value, you're not going to get picked or chosen to sell their biggest asset that they have. So it's really going in and you guys can utilize the value and learning and going to the classes, and what you guys are doing today are going to help understand and say the words at the right time that you need to say to be able to have and come across that how to sell homes, that you've done it before. I've always told other agents who are brand new. Well, we had an agent who is no longer with us, and they were brand new, and they kept telling the client that I'm brand new. So if you want to use me, but I'm brand new, but I have my broker, but I'm brand new. And I just kept saying, you have to stop saying that you're brand new, because the more you say that, the more that they have like doubts in their back of their mind. Do I do this? Do I want to do this? Or should I trust this person being brand new? So guys, come up with your value and understand that. So I would love to have, and Greg actually challenged it, and I'm going to show you some of his slides, but he really went in and said, send him, and you guys are welcome to send me, but share what your value is.
I can help you.
Oh, we have
an
unmuted person, guys. Let me find out who that is.
Laura. Okay, give me.
Mute. Okay, I think I found him. All right. So why you matter. So write a couple sentences of what the value you guys bring. And then sometimes as a brand new person, you kind of go, I don't know. I know we had Phyllis that had 40 years of building houses with her husband. So that added value to her. And so she really, really pushed hard the value of the understanding. So when she said, hey, I have zero years of business, I have 40 years of remodeling business with my husband. So she really played that. Good morning, Sarah. So we have that understanding of what your value. So going in and showing them, whoa, I don't want to see you guys didn't see that funny picture. Yeah, Madison needs to get back in here before I share that picture. So basically what it is that you guys need to realize that in today's market, There are homes that are either going to be overpriced or completely uninformed or underinformed by the agent that actually helped price that, price that property in that location. So before I go to this picture, she was looking for a picture and she couldn't find one. So Madison dragged me into the mirror and said, "Hey, why don't we just take one of ourselves?" And so there it is. So this is, here we go. So, sellers hire agents who are confident. I've never seen Madison laugh so hard, and she'll have to come in here in a minute, but it's basically that if you walk in and you don't feel confident, now this is a stupid picture, but maybe stand in the mirror, and people have done that before. Stand in the mirror and do a listing presentation in the mirror and say, would you hire me? Would you hire, because, talk and speak and kind of your demeanor and what what you look like, what you feel like, how you come across to these individual people. So Greg shared that we start each day with 0. Is that totally understandable? I mean, you start, some of you guys might have a pending sale or something. Hey, you missed your picture.
No.
Yeah, okay, come say, here's your picture. So there is the picture. So she loves the picture. All right.
That was a great picture on my phone.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. So we start with 0. And then so what he was basically saying, and I've been preaching this, guys, about not prospecting. If you don't prospect every single day, and Greg nailed it too. He says, start with 0. In a future day in the future of our lives, whatever you lost that day of not prospecting, you're going to have $0 to share, to show for it in the future. So it's basically really taking that time. And so now we've actually time blocked with Madison and said, Madison, I want you to take this time to do this and this time to do that. And so make sure and they're doing 8 to 10 is what they're doing for prospecting, for getting the listings and prospecting. So make sure you do that, because when people come in, and I know that there's a lot of agents that just put it in the MLS. And so if they ask you and they say, hey, Rachel, hey, Tim, what are you going to do for me in selling my home? And if you just mention the word Metro List, or I'm going to put it in the MLS, how many would hire somebody if they said, I'm just going to stick it in the MLS? Some of you guys are going, no way. Some of you guys are saying yes, but we just wouldn't. And sometimes in today's world, with the way things are selling, in some cases, that's why sellers are feeling, well, all you're going to do is stick it in the MLS and it's going to sell because we're in such a hot seller market, but there's a lot more. So when it comes down to negotiation, I spend 5 minutes in my presentation just on negotiation skills about what I do for negotiating to protecting your asset. We're going to share that in just a few minutes. So giving other things that bring value that you bring to the table other than just entering into the MLS. But what really it is, guys, is just the poor lead, it's poor lead follow-up. That's straight up poor lead follow-up. How many of you guys have been in the business long enough where you've lost a lead and you realize that you never hadn't followed up with them for a long time? We have a show of hands. Have anybody seen that before? Yay, we got a hand. There's a hand. So yeah, so I mean, that really is so true. And it kicks me so hard that those who are just joining for the first time, that I concentrate on sometimes more of the negative, the ones that I missed, the more that my wife keeps saying, well, what about the ones you got? And yes, it's important, but at the same time, it's because I feel that I did not provide the best follow-up on those individuals when they went somewhere else because somebody else followed up on them better. And so, guys, I want you guys to put a plan in place that you never on your tasks, and maybe you have a CRM system that you have a task that you can actually put a task in for your CRM system, your client retention management system. Make sure anytime you're ever inside their file or reviewing them or calling them, put another task in there and say, I'm going to come back to you in 6 months, 3 months. I had somebody yesterday that said they were going to be about 6 months out. So I'm going to put in there and I'm going to call them in about 5 months and say, just checking in with you as promised that I had shared with you that I would be giving you a call. So that's really important. There is the follow-up. And so I want you guys to really understand of why choose you, why choose me as an agent. And I love this when Greg read this off. He says, I empower people so they can make great financial decisions with their real estate holdings. And I used a couple of these lines at a listing presentation in Grass Valley the other day, which we did get the listing. And so I'm protecting, I use this one. I said, I'm protecting your equity, because I talked about this as, guys, my job is to protect your equity. Immediately, I had this credibility and this trust because I've never met them before. They found me on Yelp. I don't know what they read, what they watched. I walk in there, we're there an hour. They trust me. They just, and I said, are you guys ready to go? You know, and they said, yes. I pulled out the paperwork. We signed the paperwork. So Sarah, I brought my paperwork with me, which was great. Because if I hadn't, then I would have said, hey, let's go ahead and DocuSign. And I've shared with this before to some of those who've been with me for a while, that I've done that before. And then all of a sudden they call me and they don't sign it. And they say, yeah, my Aunt Susie just came and she said that I should use her daughter, who's a real estate agent, blah, blah, blah. And then you lost a listing. So take that paperwork with you and fill it out and go for it there. So I shared that with them. I said, my job, you guys, is I don't want to make you homeless. I want to protect your equity. And I'm, this is this is a financial decision and there's a lot of moving parts. I actually even took the contract, with their permission, of course, the contract on their home that they are purchasing. And I said, can I look at the COP, the contingency of your property page? Can I see that, please, of what your agent actually shared with you and what they marked? And again, I noticed that on the very bottom that they did not check the 2 boxes on the bottom with the whole entire listing agreement or within 17 days. And I told them, I said, they can just kick you out in 2 days if they get another offer. So you need to tell your agent to mark the 17-day down on the bottom. So instantly after looking at that, they knew they trusted me. They said, here, sign here. We signed it and we're going to go with it. So those who work in Grass Valley, it's out in West Main, and it's a beautiful old Victorian home that sits at the very top of West Main, walking distance to town, $650,000, 2,200 square foot, nice, pretty backyard. Plug for that. All right, here we go. All right, so if you guys can listen to this, this is a really, somebody the other day asked me, they ask, maybe you go into a listing presentation, they say straight up, like, Tim, Rachel, Christine, why should I choose you? Does anybody even dare to even come off and unmute yourself and say, why should they choose you? Challenge? All right, I'll tell you. Oh, we got somebody else coming in. All right, so here's what it is. Somebody asked me this, and oh yeah. Oh, let me see, somebody new. All right, so somebody asked me and they said, why choose me? And I went, wow, Eric, I really need to put a video together of why choose Eric Hatch. Let me get that. I think that was. So what I did is I went out and I just started interviewing people. Why choose Eric Hatch? Because I rather have you're in a humbling position to sit there with my lame picture earlier that I showed it to you and say, I'm not a cocky person. I'm a more humble person. So for someone to actually ask you straight up, why should they choose you? Then you need to have that, what they call an elevator speech, and have complete bullet points memorized of why they should choose you, because somebody, they're going to ask that to other agents. So let's listen to this.
Eric Hatcher with Century 21. The other day I was at a listing presentation and the seller looked right at me and said, why should I choose you over another agent? I thought, great question. And I want to share with you why. And let's go out and talk to and listen to some of our past clients and family members of why they would choose Eric Hatch.
Why would we choose Eric Hatch? Well, we choose Eric because he's loyal. We can always count on Eric. Whenever we have a phone call we need to place, he's...
I'm going to move this forward a little bit. So a couple other ones. See if I find my favorite. If it loads fast enough. Oh yeah, I don't know if there's going to be right. Oh, like this one right here. This is my favorite. It's going to go.
Integrity. Well, obviously, I would choose Eric Hatch as my realtor because, well, he's my dad.
I love that.
choose Eric Hatch because Eric has been taking care of my family's real estate needs for over 18 years. He's very knowledgeable and only a phone call or an email away.
So this Risa right here, wonderful friend of mine, we have her house in escrow. I have her mother-in-law's house in escrow right now. I mean, and I've sold her daughter, her son, I mean, it's just crazy. So go out and actually, so I don't know. I challenge you guys to go out and maybe make it a third-party endorsement. So I actually have this that goes out to my pre-listing, and those who have just joined us and haven't seen that, there's a pre-listing video that I send out, and one of these videos is this "Why Choose Eric Hatch" that goes out. That's on that I just hosted there on YouTube, and then they actually get to watch this video. They get to watch my marketing video. They get to watch. They go to the Yelp reviews and see the Yelp reviews that I send them to before I even walk into the house. So this example that I was sharing with you that they found me on Yelp, I didn't really even have to even ask. I just said, "You ready?" And they said, "Sure, let's go." So there was no sales where felt like I was competing because they were already there working and wanted to work with me. So I want to share with you guys here is that you need to like communicate this value. So when you go into this listing presentation, you need to let them know. And I want you guys to take this and write this down. I want you guys to say, a seller should hire me because. And I want you guys to think about that today. And if some of you guys might instantly go, "Hey, this is because blank," but this was really nice that that Greg was sharing this. And there's 3 questions. And there's the first one is because you need to communicate your value. So what I just shared with you is I communicated my value using third-party endorsements, using Yelp and other reviews before I even stepped foot in the door. So then when I got there, and I've always shared this with you guys too, is I want to ask them, did you get a chance to watch my video? Did you get a chance to watch my marketing approach that I have? And if they say no, then I feel like I have a more uphill battle. If I say yes, or they start making comments about it, it really is, it's wonderful. I mean, yesterday I was sitting in the house helping them rent out a downstairs basement, and they were just going, "Oh yeah, Eric, you're telling the tenant what a good cook I am." And it's like, well, that's great because they're watching my cooking channel with what I do in people's homes. So that still resonates and sticks with them on that. So why would they hire that? And then this one on confirmation. So during the transaction, you need to actually confirm your value with them. So my seller will like blank about my services during the transaction. What are they going to like about you? Are they going to like your communication? Are they going to like that they never can get a hold of you? Are they going to like that they love your negotiation skills? Are they going to like that you're in communication with them a lot? And those who are new in this business are going to understand when you get a listing and it sells in 7 to 10, 15 days, it's gone. And unfortunately, we don't get to build a long-lasting relationship with these individuals because they're maybe moved to Tennessee or wherever they're going. But I will tell you, when there's a shift and it comes and you're going to take 2 to 3 to 4 months to sell a house, then you're going to be like sweating going, what do I do every week? How do I actually help and assist my client? How do I keep them informed? How do I keep them from not getting discouraged? How do I keep them from not getting discouraged about me, about the market? And so there's different techniques on a weekly communication that we put in place that we actually communicate and chat with them and give them information about what's going on. And I'll share one of them that I do. I use the BombBomb software, and I basically go in, which we need to do one for a house to share. And then so every week and a half during the listing, because I've got one listing taking a little bit long right now, is that we go in and I share my screen and I show them the recent sold comparables of what's happening and the active comparables that are happening right now. So you're basically redoing a new CMA with them and doing it and sharing and showing that all over again every couple weeks to show them this is what's going on, this is what's going on. And those who don't know Golden Ruler, and for those who are on the Century 21 side, if you have not used Golden Ruler, make sure you go into C21 online and actually connect into Golden Ruler and type in Golden Ruler up on top, and you'll be find that actually gives them an email every Monday. I have mine scheduled for Monday that gives them an email that's showing them what social media, not social media, sorry, where Zillow, Realtor.com, where the buyers are finding them online. And so it shows how many clicks that they got on these different websites is what it is. So it's actually showing them kind of the activity, what's going on the web, advertising their home. So it's something simple that Century 21 is given, and all you have to do is really put their name and their address because your listing is already populated in there, and it goes. So these are things that you can actually do during a transaction to share why they actually chose you, and make sure that you do it. Make sure that if you tell them that you're going to do, a lot of times we just go in there and vomit all over a client and say, you're going to do this, I'm going to do this, and you're going to do this, and I sell this homes. They want to know about you. They want to know what personality and character you have to be able to be different than just every agent that comes in and says, I'm going to do all these things. But if you say you're going to do something and you don't do it, 2-3 weeks later, they come back and say, hey, where was that drone footage? Hey, where was that video that you had mentioned that you were going to do? And yes, Century 21 Corporate does have those videos, and they post them to YouTube through on their website as well, that you can actually go get them and send them to them. So what I like to do is the first couple days, I'm busting out getting their disclosures to them through Glide. If you guys aren't using that, I'm sending them additional videos. I've got videos scheduled the whole time, and this is what's next. This is what we're going to do next. Here's what's going to happen towards the close of escrow, all the way down to here's all the information about who you need to contact to transfer utilities. So it's continuing having this transaction run smooth as you possibly can, utilizing some technology because we are busy, and to be able to think that they're just staying on top of and on track on that. So you need to confirm the value. And then after the transaction is you want that happy client. And then, so here it is. After the transaction closes, my client will appreciate blank. And here comes the follow-up from Risa that I mentioned, that we've sold a zillion houses from her to her family. So what do? How do you keep in touch with these individual people to be able to, after the transaction, to be able to get more business from them? And I will tell you right now, guys, is that and this is what I've seen lately. I always love when I go to a listing presentation, I scroll down the very bottom of the old MLS and I say, who sold them the house? And I'll know exactly, kind of like possibly I'm going against them one-on-one, because maybe they've called that particular agent again. But the interesting thing that I've seen lately in the last 5 to 6 months is this. Most of the people that I'm going to are outside of the MLS area, or they're coming from Sacramento and selling a home to Grass Valley, or somebody came from Grass Valley and went down to Tracy and sold a house in Tracy. Do you think the person in Tracy is going to eventually 4 or 5 years later sell their home with the agent that maybe drove them down from Grass Valley? The answer is really no. They're just not going to. They're going to pick a local agent to be able to sell their home. So I would encourage you, and maybe take some time if you're on floor time, or take some time when you're just doing your prospecting in the morning, is go through and look at the sold homes that, maybe 5, 7, 8, 9 years ago, and look for the ones that were sold out of area agent. I would highly recommend that you put anyone who comes in, if somebody buys my listing that is out of the area, those individual people, like in Lake of the Pines, are now going to immediately get on my mailing list, or they're going to get on my email list if I can find their email or something of that nature. So then I can stay in communication, because I've sold so many homes in Lake of the Pines where I'm at, that people from out of the area came up, but and sold the home years ago. So stay in communication with them. I will probably have a class. I don't know how many Jody wants me to teach, but I'll probably have a class on our customer VIP appreciation after the transaction, is one that I feel that I will be teaching there at the summit. So if you don't have that scheduled yet, please come. I don't care if you guys just come for the dinner. It's an amazing experience just to see. I mean, Dan spending thousands of dollars for us and our benefit to come together and have this wonderful time together and do a lot of fun training. So consistency is undefeated. So guys, if we're consistent, just like if you send out a mailer and you don't get anything out of it, if you do it once or twice, you're not going to get anything from it. It needs to go out multiple times in consistency. So I've always shared this with people, is if you're going to join, you're going to bring in some kind of new shiny object that you really love, of a technique or some type of a social media company that's going to help you. You need to really stick with it for 6 months to get traction on it, to see, is this going to be consistent enough to me? But consistency every single day. You guys need to be prospecting and calling people and checking with people. I don't know how many people you guys have in your database. I don't care if it's 1, I don't care if it's 20, I don't care if it's 200. You need to be contacting them all the time. When you get up to 9,000 people, which I think is 9,400 in our database, it's a little tough. So you got to use technology, but you also need to come in and schedule a task with your past clients. So those who have more than 100 maybe sold transactions, you need to be calling them. You need to schedule a task, call them up, email them, text them, say hi to them, whatever it might be, but it's crucial and important to do so. 2 main reasons. Anybody know what 2 main reasons that anybody's had their escrows fall out? What do you guys think? What are 2 main reasons? Volunteers?
I mean, right now we're seeing a huge appraisal gap that buyers aren't able to make up.
Yeah. So there, Sarah, I did a whole appraisal class for you last week. So go back and watch that recording. It wasn't a whole one. I gave you 5 minutes, but it's appraisals. So you would have the loan would be an issue with the appraisal. That's a fun one. So, and I think you just had one, right? That was an appraisal. And there are ways that you can get around that. There are 2 questions I think I shared last week, guys. Is one is that you need to ask the lender, and sometimes it's not even your lender. So you have to call, if you're the seller agent, you need to call the lender and go, or the agent, say, is this a that the lender won't do it or the buyer won't do it, because the buyer usually won't share that information with you, because if they're putting 40-50% down, it's going to be the buyer, it won't be the lender. So it just is going to come down to how bad that they want the home. So that is that's tricky, because I'm in a house that yeah, we're 20, well, that one's cash, so I don't have to worry about it, but it was like 20 grand over asking. So just Sarah, my just deal with cash buyers. That's all. That's don't take any offers unless it's cash, right? All right, so two main reasons here is home condition. So you know, if you guys, you can kind of tell, and this is actually for the new agents. It's you know, because I was listening to an appraiser that was talking at a meeting recently, that he shared with that they had multiple offers on their house, and the agent took a VA loan on multiple offers and knew that the house was going to have a little bit of deferred maintenance on the property. So guys, you need to know your home. If I walk into a house and I ask my buyers, what type of loan program are you going with? And if they say VA FHA, and then I explain why I asked that, because there's certain houses, if I walk in, I don't think even a conventional loan will even help this house. But if you guys go around and you see peeling, chipping paint, and you see dry rot and stuff, you guys need to know and understand and be that, and I'm happy to walk around a house with you to share you, and maybe we'll go live somewhere and go do a little field trip. But it's like understanding when you're going into a buyer or you're listing a house, if I have a bunch of decks, I'm going to get an inspection straight up. If you guys are down in Tracy or Roseville, Rockland, they've got homes on slab and there's not a lot of wood, I'm probably not going to get, you know, a pest inspection and just let the buyer actually just go ahead and pay for it. But I just need to know the condition, because what happens is you'll get into the home. I've got a house in escrow right now that I already can tell the roof's already bad. I already can tell it's a huge deck, and I'm preparing my buyer not to be in a negative mood, but preparing them. And I already shared with them, guys, I think we're going to have a little issue here, and I think we're going to have a little bit issue here. So let's go ahead and get the reports and focus on these issues, focus on these areas. So I'm just trying to be that expert and understanding. So then we don't just get the report and go, wow, I'm done. This is like crazy. I don't know how I'm going to even do this. And I've already explained to them the process. When we get to that point, because I feel that we're going to find a few things, then we can negotiate with the seller. But at the same time, this particular one that I have, and now we have multiple offers. Now we have a backup offer sitting behind us. So you need to share that scenario. That could be a little bit of a problem, that we may have to go into this completely as is, because we could get bumped, and because the other buyer behind us may not have a problem with a leaning wall such as this house. So home condition, and then Sarah was right, it's your loans. You know, the loans are, you know, we're going to share this right now because this is another seminar. I'm going to get more information on this. I have a buyer that's a lender coming out of the Bay Area, and showed me a video yesterday. He's got some lenders or some agents that are sharing a video, and I want to share this. And when I get more information about this particular questions he's answering or giving the lenders, it will be a fun little class to be able to share that with you. Because here's kind of what's happening is that too often we actually get, which is one of these little guys, which is a pre-approval letter. And some may not understand what the pre-approval letter is. There's I know Stanford Mortgage has the totally pre-qualified all the way through. So we just can't not wish and hope that, great, we have a listing and we get a couple offers, we have a couple pre-qualification letters, and we just hope that this is going to go through. And so this lender friend of mine is actually preparing and been doing these video series of the questions that you should ask a lender to make sure that you can vet them a little bit better. So what this other agent was doing on this video was he was sharing, again, this is showing confirmation in the listing appointment of the maybe 2 reasons why the house falls out. And this is what sets me apart. And I go further and not just share the pre-approval letter with you, but I call the lender. I ask him these 4 or 5 questions. I want to know, you know, because in this lender was saying it's a rarity that he even gets a call from the other agent, even asking, have you verified funds? Have you done this? So you can get kind of your hair stands on the back of your neck sometimes when you kind of get this funny feeling, that something looks a little bit weird, or let's discuss this a little bit deeper with the lender. But it should be where you guys could go in and acting like the expert of understanding, guys, that the condition of the house I see the home, I walk around the home, I don't see that we're going to have any conditions. You know, I haven't crawled underneath your home, but the home looks like that it should go through all of the standard finances. If I say that we probably won't be able to get because you don't have a foundation, or if it's because it's a manufactured home built pre 1979 to 78, I'm probably going to tell them that it's going to be cash only. So you're helping them understand what the pricing strategy and what prices are going to come in. But then you also want to share that when I get these pre-approval letters, and if we get the multiple offers, I want to share with you that we are definitely going to be sitting down and chatting with that lender and showing why I'm different and why I'm going to be able to protect your asset and protect the transaction as best we can by vetting out the buyers, by talking to their lender. So if you guys aren't doing that, I would strongly encourage you that, and I'll be sharing a little bit more information here shortly in regards to what those things we have. You can find the recorded classes on my YouTube channel. So somebody last week went on my YouTube channel and subscribed. So thank you, Eric Hatch. You can find me. It might be just Eric Hatch Real Estate or just Eric Hatch. There's a couple Eric Hatches. One's in the East Coast selling real estate. You're welcome to join him too, but he actually is a trainer. So anyway, but yes, you can do that, and then please send the recording about the appraisal. The last week you'll find that one too. They should be in order there for you on the chat there group, so you can actually see them last week. And the appraisal one, guys, and I can spend a few minutes at the end of this one too to go over, because Sarah probably would love to have an answer in question and answer session. All right, so the appraisal part, the pre-approval, make sure that you're doing a little bit more and you're showing that your seller that you can do that. All right, here's a couple little tidbits. Did I get that? All right, so here's one. Wow, I'm in the same tie and shirt. This is when I took this morning. All right, so see what these two numbers. Now this is a subject line. Madison is doing fantastic. What did you just Googled subject line, like real estate subject lines?
Catchy real estate subject.
Catchy real estate subject lines. And then she found like 70 of them. So I would definitely look at those. I know Jared James this is a Jared James, so we'll get compliments to him for his training this week. That this is his little tidbit that he shared with us. That it's basically doing just getting something catchy. And he's really big on what this has done and what this has done to your value of your home. If you guys have been with me and Jared for a little while, so it's a little long on a subject line, because I've heard sometimes sometimes the subject line kind of carries out, so you kind of want it to be shorter. But this is one that he was using. See what these two numbers have to do with the value of your home. This could be a video you could save on BombBomb. This could be a video you could save on Zoom. But you're just doing this little video. But basically, it's just sharing that. Then when they listen to your video, what this basically is. And you guys can check your areas and percentages of what it might be, but there's like 18.5%, which is the natural average of what things have appreciated last year, and maybe 24% to 19 to 25% in our general geographical areas, or wherever you guys might be servicing your clients. So that's basically what these two numbers are. So his tidbit this week was to send out this video to some of your clientele to be able to say, what do these have? And then you can kind of watch it. What I like about BombBomb, guys, and maybe, I don't know if Loom has it, but actually you could do this. You could be sneaky. You could not sneaky, but you could be creative. If you don't want to go BombBomb, you could actually go and put it into Bitly, like a Bitly, the links Bitly. If you guys have seen that where you can shorten down the URL, and in Bitly, it actually opens up and shows you what video has been watched, which is interesting, because I actually do that when I send out a listing presentation to an outside area person, and I want to see if they've actually watched it. But in BombBomb, they actually are able to go in and it will show who actually opened it up. So if you had 10 of your people that open it up, then you go back and follow up with them with another video of those 10 people and say, hey, I just wanted to check in with you. I noticed that you did watch our video with our numbers of the appreciation. I don't know what you're thinking, but what you're deciding or what you're wanting to do, but I just want to let you know, are you interested in doing anything with the $90,000 appreciation that you have sitting on your home today? Maybe they want to buy a second home or something. So this is his little Jared James little thing that he challenged us to do. So feel free, if you guys want to copy this and go out and do that. That was a nice little video that you guys can do there. And I believe my last little slide here was that was from Wire Magazine. This came from a curator that I was listening to Jimmy this week. And he said, moving from the age of information to the age of recommendation. And I think we've been sharing that, guys, that it's about getting yourself and getting those recommendations. There's some serious email, like on this same presentation, way up about 55 slides up. There's a whole thing and a class on the recommendations. I'll probably teach that too. I'm probably talking very slowly right now, but when I get to a summit, I usually speed up a little bit because there's so much information to actually pound out. But and I will share like step-by-step process of how to get recommendations by using Yelp and different technologies to be able to generate and get you guys up there, because we send out referrals all the time. We sent out one to South Carolina the other day, and Madison's really good. She goes into C21 site, she finds them, we look at their Yelp pages, we look at their reviews, we get a feel and get a see from us picking an agent for our client. So it's important to be able to utilize that as well for that recommendation. So anyway, guys, that is what I've got today on that. We did that in 39 minutes. So I will stop the recording here.